Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're looking at Ethereum. This is a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that's more what you're looking for. Everyone, let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so as we were talking about in the higher time frame video, there's two bullish counts that we're looking at where we have this is 1-2 and this is 1-2 as it's looking at here. So our typical zone, we'd look for retracement. If this is the case, we want to count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into actually this high here. Would actually be lower down here, typically between this 382 to the 786 region. We have only come down to this 236, so this is making me think that if this is the case, potentially this could be incomplete, and we could actually see, a move up and then a continuation down. So what we'd be looking for here would actually be a three-wave move to the downside. Now there is one other count which is very similar to this, and that would actually be looking at the fact that we would be arguing that this is 1-2 and this is 1-2 here, and then effectively looking at another 1-2. So this would be looking for the potential that we're actually going to start to look to extend out in a bigger five-wave structure. But what we need to do is actually hold this 1370 for this count, and then we'd be looking for a push to the upside. So this would actually require a smaller wave too, and we would have actually met the requirements of this already by coming down into this zone of this 382 to this 50%. Now, the only way we get confirmation of this is actually by breaking back above these highs here and hitting this target here of this 1618, which is sitting towards this 2639 level. Now, this would give us confirmation of a bigger third wave, in which case we'd be looking for a fourth and a fifth. And then if we do actually manage to get up to this 3009 level, this would tie in with this idea of this move extending out here. Now, within this count, our higher wave 3 target would actually be this 4168. So this will be an important area to keep an eye on. Obviously, if this is a five-wave move that's going to start to develop here and we maintain this low, look to actually stay above this 1462 as a 786 retracement. What I'd be looking for effectively would be a nice strong move to the upside. Now, this third wave could technically look to extend out, in which case we might actually see this 2.618 get hit at this 3555 level. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this if we do see price action start to break to the upside in a more vigorous way. Now, within these two counts, like I said, they're fairly similar. The idea with this one would be that we'd be looking for a direct push to the upside from this point. If we come down one more time, it becomes more likely that if we are looking at the bullish counts, that it is more likely that we actually have this count in play where we're treating this whole move as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here. And this is just meaning that we're going to get a bigger wave 2 developing, looking to push us back down deeper here, looking for some of these lower target areas. So as long as we technically hold this 786 and this lower level here of this 1070, we can still look for that potential of a direct push to the upside. We do have those two options. Like I said, either we have this as 1-2, 1-2, and then we're going to push up, or alternatively this is 1-2 and then we look for that push to the upside. Within this count, what I'd be looking for, given our current structure here, would actually be a move up towards this 3834 level for a 1618. If we come down lower down here, possibly we could see this target drop down here. The idea would be the same though with the white count here. We need to get a move past this 4134 for that confirmation. So we're going to go into the internals of this now. I just wanted to give a quick overview of that. Now, we need to also just be aware that until we actually take this high, we could have the more bearish case taking place. We actually just start to have a direct push to the downside where we actually treat this as a completed connector wave here, and then we actually look to break down directly. So really, until we break back over these highs, we need to just be cautious of the bearish count, which we'll also go over in the video. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, if we are looking at this as that 1-2 idea, like I said, we've got either the lower one here where we could be arguing that this wave 2 is in play, or we are looking at this wave 2 possibly being completed. Now, the way I'd be looking at this is within the structure here, what I would be looking for would be that we have this move like this from further back, where we treat this as an A, a B, and a C here for a W wave. This is an X wave, and then we have A, B, and C for a Y wave. So technically speaking, we've come down to the 1-to-1 of this as an A, B, and a C. So it could be completed here. What we need to be on the lookout for here, though, is if this is going to become a W, X, Y, X, and a Z, what we could still find is a rejection off this zone. You have this 1930 to this 1764 level. So if we just see three-wave move up here, I would be keeping an eye on some of these target boxes that we've got here, particularly this one here, this 1903 to this 1839. Possibly we could actually look to get a rejection off of here, as well as that if we do look to push up higher here, we do have these swing highs sitting in line with the 786. 6 here, possible swing failure potential here, and then we could actually see, you know, continuation to the downside. So this is what I'm looking out for here with this additional Z wave here. Potentially, if we do look to push up higher here, we could look for this move up and then that possibility of a continuation to the downside, in which case that Z wave could look to align us to this 1485 level. Really, for as long as we hold this low here, this move is looking like a 5-wave move to the upside. So what I would be looking for here effectively would be continuation. So this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or alternatively 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4th and a 5th. So we're going to go over this now. If we are looking to break directly to the upside here, what I would be looking for is something along these lines. We would be treating this as 1, 2, 3, looking for this as a 4th wave, and then looking for this 5th wave to the upside. Now, if we do get confirmation of having this 5-wave move, then we'd be looking for the potential to come down lower here towards the 1701 to the 1654. Now, this would be looking to actually complete a 5-wave move up, then get a 3-wave move to the downside. Invalidation of this idea of pushing to the upside comes by crossing this 1620. Though we need to be careful because at the moment all we have is 3 waves to the upside. So if we fail to develop this additional 5th wave here, or alternatively we actually look to break down directly from this high here, what we could still see is, you know, it's not my favorite way of counting it, but we could say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we could be looking for A, B, and C. Now this would tie into coming back down into the 1692 to the 1650 directly. We'd be saying this is A, this is B, and then we're going to see that move to the downside. So I would be keeping an eye on this little area here as a possible target because this aligns with our 618 zone. Alternatively, if we do look to sweep this low here, we could see something more along the 1650 area before looking for that continuation up. Though primarily I am looking for this 5th wave, we need to just be aware that at the moment we don't really have a completed structure here, and we can count it as 5 waves here, but I don't really like the time comparison between those 2 waves there. Now, what we'd be looking for here would be basically forming a 5-wave move up, coming back down, and then seeing a push up here towards this 1962 for confirmation of a bigger impulse to the upside here, in which case we'd get a 4th and a 5th towards this 2035 to this 1989 level. Now we need to be cautious within this count because there is still the potential of that additional push to the downside, and what we'd be looking for within that would be something along these lines where this becomes W, this is an X wave into this high here, this all just becomes A, this becomes B, and then we see a bigger C wave to the downside. Now, within this is why I'm saying, you know, we need to get back above some of these key highs here. Until we do, there's a lot of different ways we can look at this. We could argue this is A, B, and C. Or alternatively, if this starts to break down in a bigger way, we could have a series of 1s and 2s from further back here. This could be 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we look to break down, which we will go over in a second. But what I'd be looking at here would be that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for an A wave, looking for an A, B, C to the upside. Invalidation of this continuation would come by crossing this 1901, and what I'd be looking for here is that potential of a 3-wave move. Once again, we've got our target areas here. We have actually come into this zone of this 50% already, so if we break down directly, what I would then be looking for would be the possibility that within this ABC pattern, our target for this would actually be lower down here towards this zone. I'm going to just change the color of this quickly. Towards this 1501. So this would be a direct breakdown from where we currently are. So if we start to break down in a bigger way, 1501 would be that 1-to-1, which would align with this idea of the 1-to-1 of this Y wave here. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we do see this actually move sideways though, however, what this could mean is that our target could potentially get moved up, where we see this come into the 618. Our 1-to-1 would be that 1515, and then alternatively, if we had to come back up into the 786, that 1-to-1 would be closer towards this level of this 1577 to this 1554 level. So this would be looking for a corrective move to the downside. As long as we hold this low, I'm looking for that potential for an additional leg up here. Now, the confirmation is going to be whether this becomes an impulse and breaks out of this area, or we just get a 3-wave move, in which case we're still going to look for that continuation to the downside. Now, the more bearish count, which would be looking for a direct breakdown here, would actually be looking for something along these lines rather, where if I come back out here onto the 4-hourly, what we'd be looking for would be the potential that within this we could actually have this as 1-2, this is 1-2 here, and this is another 1-2 here. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be looking for would be the potential of breaking down for this 3rd wave here. Now, this rejection area is going to be much the same within this 1847 to this 1761. Really, we need to get back above this invalidation point here at this 1950 for, you know, more clarity that we are looking to at least move up more significantly here. Now, until we do that, we could just get, like I said, another 3-wave move. This could technically be completed as a 3-wave move because we don't have an additional 5th wave as of yet, like I said. So if we do start to break down directly here, what we could actually see is price move down towards this zone for this wave 3, which would be this 1347. If, however, we do look to push up one more time, which would be what I'm looking for here, towards that 618, what I'd be then seeing is that possibility of this 1618 coming towards this 1370. So the key thing is here is if we do start to break down in a bigger way in a 5-wave move, looking to break down into this area, this could tie into this becoming 1 2 3 4 5 here. And then what this would do is this would actually hit all the targets of these other waves here. So this would then mean that within this count, these additional thirds would come down into here, and then we'd get continuation. So we're expecting an additional 2 5th waves to the downside from that point. So once we start to cross this level here of this 1498, we need to start being on the lookout for that, and confirmation that this is 1 2 3 4 and 5 would actually be coming by crossing this 1370. Though we also need to be cautious if we do just see a bigger push down here. Even if we do hit this 1618 level and sweep this low here, I would be looking for confirmation of this 4th wave, because sometimes what we can get is we can just get a W, or an A, B, and a C, where the C wave actually hits that 1618 and then reverses to the upside and looks to invalidate the idea of having an additional 4th. So what that would mean is having this as A, B, C, we get a big C wave down here, sweeping these lows, and then this whole move just becomes W, X, and Y. Still looking to continue to the upside afterwards, because once we move back above the high, effectively it invalidates that idea of this continuation to the downside. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. At the moment, I am looking for that potential to still have another leg to the upside. If we form that 5-wave move up, then I would be looking for that potential of a more substantial push up here. But really, like I said, until we actually break this 1915 level, I would just be cautious that we don't get that 3-wave move and then that continuation to the downside. Looking at the daily CPR, what we can see is that we are currently fighting with these central lines here. If we do manage to get back above these, what we could see is price get gravitated towards this 1758, this 1790, this 1813, or this 1844 as possible target areas. Now, if we do actually continue to reject off of this and start to break down, I'll be keeping an eye on this R1 at the 1704, R2 at this 1681, the R3 at this 1650, and this lower range here of this 1628. Now, just breaking down to some of these lower targets wouldn't invalidate the idea of continuation to the upside. Some of these lower targets here could align with some of these fib levels, particularly the 7861 at this R3 would be quite an interesting zone if we do look to break down. Alternatively, if we do look to push to the upside, this 5th wave aligns with that S2 line up here. Having a look at the weekly pivots, we've actually managed to get back above this R1 line. Now, these are only valid to reset tomorrow. So what we've actually done is come and reacted off this higher level here, where we have come into the bottom CPR line here. Now, if we do see price actually start to break back to the upside here, I'll be keeping an eye on these as potential rejection points, this 1807, 1791, and this 1770. If we do see price push back above these, what we could see is that potential to move up to this S1 line here at this 1860, S2 is this 1968, S3 up here at this 2041. So be keeping an eye on those levels if we do see price move up. But like I said, these will be reprinted tonight, so we need to just be aware they're not going to be valid as of next week. Now, looking at the monthly CPR, what we can see is prices actually come back into this R1 line, and we're struggling to get back above this. If we do see price continue to reject off this level, I would be looking out for that possibility of a move down towards this R2 line here, this 1594. And if we do look for a deeper breakdown, this R3 is sitting towards this 1449 level. Now, if we do actually look to regain this line, what we could actually see is price be gravitated back to the central CPR lines, which are sitting here between this 1874 and this 1884 level. And then we could actually even see price get gravitated to these higher lines if we manage to get back up here and reclaim this zone, which would be this 2018, this this 2163, and this 2304 area. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.